Hi, and welcome back to Antique Quest. Today we're going to be looking at decoys, and in particular decoys that are a little different that you don't see every day. So we'll be right back after this. Okay, so in the antique trade, you run into things that you find interesting and that you just decide you want to keep. They don't necessarily have to be the most valuable, and they don't have to be in the greatest condition. And decoys is one of those things for me. I don't have a large collection of decoys. I have maybe 8 or 9 at any one time. I've had big collections and I've sold them off. But I tend to like things that other people don't necessarily like. But I picked out 4 here that are really unusual and some you'll never have ever seen before. And I just find them so interesting that to date I haven't been able to sell them. I just like them so much I decided to keep them. And I'm just going to show you some of those today. So the first one is this eider decoy. And a friend of mine gave me this. Actually, I delivered a big cover to him on the other side of the province. And he gave it to me as a gift. And it's an eider, but it has got such an unusual body. It looks like a loaf of bread. It's so extra wide. It's so folky. It's got this great hump. A decent head. It's got these great big rusted in square nails where it would have had a weight hanging there originally. But I just love it. It's got all this nice darkening that you see around these nails, so you know they didn't just get put in yesterday. They've been there for a very long time. The wood's got a bit of damage. That doesn't bother me at all. The painted finish, a lot of it's gone, but what's there is crazed beautifully. It's all original. But it's that form, that pancake floating bread loaf form. It looks like something you'd get out of an Italian bakery. I just love it. It's the only one I've ever seen like that, and it's just that unique that it strikes me, and I love the wear. In antiques, you have decoy collectors in particular. A lot of them, they love perfectly pristine, beautifully painted birds, and granted, some of them are gorgeous. They're works of art. And the toy collecting is the same thing. People love their toys, mint condition, sometimes still in the original box, not out of its original packaging. To me, I find that boring. I like to see an old item with the age. So here's another one that's really unique, and I love this little decoy. And it's an eider, but it's the smallest one I've ever seen. And he has had a good, long working life. A little bit of a leather eye here that they would have, tied him together with. Another one back here. But you look at his head. His beak's been blown off. Piece of his head's broken away, but again, the darkening, the color inside these breaks tells me that they were gone a long time ago. He's got this string around his neck, and I left it because that's exactly how I found him. But he's got some good color. There's virtually no paint left except the top of his head, and I'm not really sure this one was painted in the body, to tell you the truth. But he's a good little working decoy, but it's the size and it is the wear that actually draws me to this. So some people will look at that and say, well, he's got a broken beak and he's got a chunk out of his head, he's not worth anything. Well, you can say that if you like. To me, that makes him so much more appealing. He's just got character. He shows he's had a hard life. He's been a working bird. And I think he looks great on the shelf like that. So in particular, that's why I keep him. I think he's a fabulous little bird. And a nice small size, which you don't see a lot of eiders that small around here. Now this has to go down as one of the rarest, most unusual decoys I've ever found. And I bought this in an Ontario collection a long time ago. I have had them for sale at a couple of the big shows. I had them at the Bowmanville show when we did that. And I think I also took them to the Bon Secure market at the Montreal show, OMAS, when I did that show a couple years in a row. And he is entirely made out of copper. And he has a very much Mason's look to him. But you see the weight's off center and welded on there. So to me, this is probably one of the greatest forms of folk art. And how I see that is that there was a guy who liked duck hunting, and maybe he was a plumber, a metal worker of some sort, because it has beautifully, I don't know if you'll be able to focus in on this and see this, dovetailed joints, and he has this little ring there soldered on, but he's got a beautiful shaped head. I mean, you couldn't have gone wrong with the body shape at all. He did a magnificent job there. But the work that it took to put this bird together, he's got a few dents, he's got a beautiful dark patina, and he's entirely hollow, so he's not terribly heavy, and I imagine he floats great. It looks like he's taken a few shots of BBs over the years, but nothing broke through anywhere. And told by the person I bought this from that it was found in Sandpoint, Idaho. I have never seen another one like this. It's the only one I know of, so if any of you out there know anybody down in Sandpoint, Idaho, and they know who might have made this, if there's other examples, then please put it in the comments and let me know below, because he's just a fantastic piece of folk art, and he's a great decoy. We have put together a little wooden stand to hold him up. Just very interesting to see that hunters needed decoys. You know, and they went out duck hunting, and they didn't always have a guy around the corner that made decoys, so they did what they did, and they made them. So that's the purest and most wonderful form of folk art, I find. And then the last one we're going to show you today is one that a lot of people don't know about. Now, this is a very old decoy as well. That's it right there. And you say, oh, it looks like an African mask. Well, maybe so. But, and this one's actually signed VS. Again, could be the owner of the decoy. There's the little weight for it. Little ring here attached again to tie it to your rig. Now what that is a dead duck decoy. A lot of people don't know what these are. So when you shot a bird, you would put his feet through here, and you would put your dead bird that you just finished shooting in there and use him as a decoy while you were still hunting for his friends. So very hard to find these. I think I've only heard of a couple of these around. I'm sure they are around, but I think a lot of people might throw them out not knowing what they are. You know, they'll go through an old basement, an old barn, and think, well, that's just a weird piece of wood. I don't know what to do with it. And they don't realize that they actually have a pretty hard to get their hands on dead duck decoy. So you just poke your feet through there, and your little flappers would be there, and you send them off out instead of keeping them beside you in a bag, and you get another decoy while you're there hunting that day. Really neat piece, hard to find. If you do find any, you'll have lots of interest of people that want to buy them off you. So that's just a little quick look at a few decoys that out of my collection that I particularly really like. And you know, you look for the unusual, and that's what makes collecting interesting. Seeing the same old thing day in, day out, you know, they're nice, but it's not that interesting. But if you can find these variations within a collectible field, you'll have a lot of fun, and you'll learn a lot more that way. So hopefully you can go out there and find a few oddities in whatever field you collect in, and hopefully you'll subscribe if you like this channel, and that's that little red button down in the corner. And you do have to hit the little bell notification if you want to be notified when we put on another video. And we sure appreciate that. And please, any comments below. I'd love to see anything about unusual ones that you've found. So thanks very much for watching, and hopefully we'll see you next week. Thanks. Bye-bye.